Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, it's not too loud in here. I am in the Tim Hortons location. As I said, we would be doing a tour from wherever I am. And right at the moment, um, I have started my day officially. And my first stop today was Tim Hortons to get a free birthday breakfast sandwich. So I used a gift card and bought myself a medium coffee to go with it. And I got two teeny, tiny little Tim Hortons birthday cake Timbits today as my birthday cake because that's about the right size for me. These are the new glasses, one of the pairs. Kind of love them. What do you think? Oh, I forgot this table is wobbly. So my day started off with a phone call from my brother Colin at around 8 o'clock this morning. And it's funny because, like, I had a plan, but I didn't really have a plan. But it's like, whatever happens, happens. Wherever we are, we are, as you know. And so um, my brother called, and I wasn't expecting that. So that changed my itinerary right there. And I'm okay with that. I had a nice little catch up chat with my brother. He lives in another part of the province up around Christina Lake in a beautiful house, actually, right on the lakefront. So I had a chance to catch up with him this morning. That was really nice. Then had a nice little hot shower. And I have this beautiful chocolate body scrub, body wash from Lush. And so today we used the chocolate one instead of the cotton candy that I usually do. And I took my time a little bit getting ready. I left. I was amazed. I showed up at my bus stop and both of my buses were there. It's like they knew it was my birthday and they were celebrating with me. So I got on the bus and then remembered I should do a heads up. There's a tour today, post. And the drive was more efficient than I planned on. So when I looked up after doing my post, I was already downtown and past the bus stop that I wanted to get off at. Whatever it is, what it is. Um, so I pulled the buzzer thinking I'd get off in the next block, but there's no stops for 3 blocks on Granville Street in that area, so that was pretty funny. And then I was like, my original plan was I was going to pick up my breakfast sandwich and then go to Starbucks and order my Starbucks birthday drink and then head out on the tour. But we're changing up the order today because I got off and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'll just go over to this Starbucks. Nope, that one's closed. I'll just go to this Starbucks. That one's also closed. I'll go to this one. It's no longer there. So I was going to hop on the bus going back the other way to go back to where I was originally going to get off. And then I was like, you know what? Whatever. We'll just walk. We'll go to Tim Hortons. We'll get a breakfast sandwich, and that's where we're going to start from. So right now, we are actually at almost Davie and Granville. We're at like Davie and, oh, I never remember how, Hornby, something like that. And we're going to head out and we're going to go for a walk along Davie Street down towards English Bay. And I'm thinking we'll be able to walk all the way to English Bay. And this is actually the neighborhood that I first lived in when I first moved downtown. So we'll pass by, not in front of the building where I used to live, but we'll pass near it. And I'll tell you a little bit what it was like to live right in the heart of downtown Vancouver. It was pretty awesome, actually. And we're actually very close to St. Paul's Hospital as well, which is, of course, where I used to work when I first moved downtown. We're going to get going in a little minute. If you can get into the chat, leave me a comment, a message, or whatever. And again, of course, if you're catching this later, do the hashtag replay, just so I know you were here. I am not coordinated enough to have a coffee, eat a breakfast sandwich, and film all at the same time. So we're going to let me finish this breakfast sandwich. I'll toss my birthday cake and bits in my bag, and we shall head out very shortly. It's been really rainy in Vancouver for the last couple of weeks, like more than usual rainy. Which means our water reservoirs are going to be good. But I keep hitting the table. Us Vancouverites, we're getting a little tired of all the rain. We had a sunny day and we're like, oh my God, it's so sunny, it's so good, it's so cool, it's so... And then, oh my gosh, it starts raining in the afternoon. And the sunshine is gone. But that is the price we pay for living in a beautiful city. And I'm weirding out a little bit today because I put my headphones in. And apparently the left one didn't charge overnight. So I only have, I was playing music to kind of get in the group and down here. Only one earphone is working and that was driving me crazy. It's a little bit better because now I'm recording so I can't hear anything. But it so distracts me. All right, because I don't like umbrellas and I lose them and leave them everywhere. Try the hat for today. And we are going to get going. So one of my big goals for today is to pick up as many birthday freebies as I can. I've done a little bit of studying. I've done a little plotting and planning. Oh, you know what? We're just going to have a birthday cake Timbit now, and we'll save one for later. Because, they're so cute. They have little twinkles. So a lot of my stuff I'm going to do, I'm going to head to work early tonight at Richmond Center at Lego, and I will collect some of my freebies there. It's perfect because I don't need to bring a lunch for work today because I get free fries at New York Fries and I get a free smoothie at Jugo Juice tonight. So that's going to be pretty awesome. And like I said, just in a minute here, we're going to head out. I'm going to have my little birthday cake Timbit. Oh, they're sipping my little coffee. I got a little one for now because I get a Starbucks birthday drink later. And I think I'm going to go crazy for my Starbucks one. So it's kind of good it worked out this way because we're going to go for a nice long walk all the way down towards English Bay. And at the end of my tour, I can go get my Starbucks or before I go to work tonight. And I'm going to do one of those think I've decided I'm going to do a venti white mocha, but half sweet with half sweet raspberry and extra shot of espresso, whipping cream, and maybe some sprinkles or something on top. I got to do a lot of walking today, so my blood sugar doesn't skyrocket. All right, we are almost ready to head out onto Davy Street. It's also pretty warm in here. When I checked before I left home, it was 10 degrees Celsius. Don't ask me what that is in Fahrenheit. I don't know. I only know one or the other. So here we go. I'm going to get up. I'm going to fold up my little stand here, and we're going to head out to Davy Street. Which also means we need to turn the camera around so you guys can see where we're going. Let's do that right now. All I have to do is remember how. Whew, it's been a few weeks since I've done a tour. Settings, into the camera. Here we go. Now we're going to switch it around. Facing back. Let's try the other back facing. I think that's more what I'm going for. Perfect. Sorry for the finger there. All right, let's go for a walk, my beautiful friends. Oh, thanks for letting me get out of the way there, people. Totally smashed my elbow. Can we all just calm down a little bit? Thank you, sir. Oh. Here we go. We are on Davy Street. This is not a terribly exciting corner. Behind us here is Granville Street. Here we are. And now we're going to cross the street. And we're going to walk up to Burrard. Or we're going to pass over Burrard. That is one of the main thoroughfares through downtown. Goes right over the Burrard Street Bridge. I am going to switch hands for a second here. Feels a little funny to me. You know how when you cross your hands left over right, right over left, or things like that? Well, it feels weird for me to hold my camera or my gimbal in my left hand, so I had to switch it over to my right. A lot of the buildings in this area are part of Vancouver Coastal Health. Different programs they offer and run. St. Paul's is just up the way here. Now, the new St. Paul's is being built way over by the Greyhound station. Beautiful, brand new, state-of-the-art hospital. And I think it's supposed to be done in 2026 or early 2027. Interesting how everything has changed so much. So this used to be a 7-Eleven on the corner right here. And looks like it's all closed up. It was a pretty wild 7-Eleven to begin with. But the area of Granville and Davy has, how shall I put this, changed into kind of an add-on addition to the Vancouver downtown east side, kind of. Now, it does say they moved, but also the place that they moved to has been there for a couple of years at least already. So I'm sure that's something to do with the logistics of running businesses and leases and all of that. Now, this here, this is Yolks. Let me show you in a second here. This is a fabulous breakfast and brunch spot. They have a few of them around. There's one right by my bus stop on Broadway that I got off to go on the SkyTrain. It's a little neon sign in there that says life is too short for burnt coffee. Yolks is one of my favorite breakfast spots in Vancouver, but my favorite will always be Fable Diner, where we used to go for breakfast, sometimes on a payday Friday from coffee. Ooh, you can actually see the building I used to live in is right there. That one. 24-story building, and I lived on the 11th floor. We had an outdoor pool. I had a balcony. I was living the dream until they reno evicted me. Right, just a couple of years before the pandemic. Yes, we are right close to St. Paul's. That is actually St. Paul's, right over there. If you were on my hop on, hop off tour right about now, I would be telling you that this is the last remaining gas station in downtown Vancouver. Right here. Lots of little tiny cafes and stuff. As you go a couple of blocks down this way, there's actually a couple of bike rental places because it's close to the seawall. Oh my goodness. Sirens. Lots of brand new condo buildings. That is the building with the spire kind of on top. It's the Sheraton Wall Center. Now this building here, let me show you. Right there, that one, you can blow up your screen at all. It's a very futuristic looking building. It actually reminds me, if you ever watch the Jetsons cartoons, it really reminds me of the Jetsons. That building was built on the grounds of First Baptist Church here in Vancouver. And I think the story goes something like they sold off a bunch of their property, blah, blah, blah. And they came in and built a tower of some sort. Not exactly sure. I'm going to assume it is probably condos because why not have thousands of luxury condos in a city where we already can't afford regular rent, right? But hey, we're not going to get into politics on my birthday. Behind the fence there, that has been a community garden. There used to be a gas station there. And of course, in Vancouver, when you decommission a gas station for about the next 10 years, it has to sit empty. Celebrities is a very popular nightclub here in Vancouver. It's where some of my friends used to hang out in our early 20s. It closed up for a while and then reopened again. This part of town is kind of known as the alternative lifestyle section, whatever you want to call it. I just love it. It's so many different things. This spot right here was Vera's, or is Vera's Burgers. Vera's Burgers actually started as a hot dog and burger stand down at Dunderray Beach in West Vancouver many, 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 many years ago. So this is the area where I did a lot of my some of my dinners out. I didn't totally stick to my neighborhood, but I did a fair bunch of stuff here. Numbers, another little club. So in this area, we have a lot of older folks, seniors. We have a lot of immigrants. Also home to a lot of professionals like lawyers, doctors, nurses. This is, if you're in Vancouver, you're visiting Vancouver. If you are for any reason in Vancouver and need something for a costume or anything, this is the place to go. This was the only place I could find 22 hats for when I was doing my Taylor karaoke. They sell literally, you can get batteries and gift bags and costume pieces and stationery supplies. There we go. That would be the perfect little birthday hat for me. Um, like literally anything, Elmo costume, fake flowers, disco balls, like whatever you need, they have it here. It's awesome. And it was actually pretty, I think I spent 20 bucks to get 4 22 hats because I wore one as part of my costume. And then I presented 3 22 hats, one for each karaoke tour that I did. So across the street here, we've got a little home hardware. I used to go there to pick up little things that I needed. A lot of the restaurants have changed. We used to go to it used to be not the Banana Leaf. It used to be something else. We would go there a lot for lunch. One of the places where you put all your stuff in a bowl and they weigh it, put it on the grill, etc. Fat Burger, of course. That's been there for a long time. Mocha Coffee and Bites is in there for a little while, but not when I lived here. This used to be a super awesome little health food kind of spot, little cafe. We used to come for lunch sometimes when I first started working at St. Paul's in like 2002. It's changed hands a few times now. And look at all these gates and things they have now. This was briefly a Duke Fried Chicken after it was something else. It's changed hands as well. They do custom screen printing and embroidery. That is good to know. Glad we came here today, folks. Usually if I'm going in there, I'm just kind of rushing in to look for something. This is also kind of like a little bit of a costumey place. Of course, they have Pride right in this neighborhood in August, so there's a lot of costumey stuff for that. Love it. Just love this neighborhood. It is so eclectic. But they've had a lot of break-ins, partly because new neighbors down at Granville and Davie. This Denny's has been here for forever. I can't even tell you how many times I have been to this Denny's at 3 a.m. There is one of the Starbucks I thought I might get to. This one is usually very busy. I noticed they've pulled their tables from the sidewalk. Again, I'm going to assume that's something to do with the changed dynamics of the neighborhood. That one gets so busy. You always tell when the coffee breaks are at St. Paul's because that Starbucks gets incredibly busy. And here we have, I've been to this upstairs of the Denny's. I can't remember what it was called then, but we used to come to bingo to support. One of my coworkers at Rocky ran the drag queen bingo here, and it was so much fun. So every now and then we'd get dressed up in our tutus and feather boas and head down and play bingo and support a loving spoonful. Oh yeah, this building down here. My mom told me, so my adopted mom, my mom June, who passed in October, her auntie used to live in that building right ahead, right there. That one right there. And my mom worked, I think, in the income tax office in her younger, youthful days. And sometimes she would go and visit, I want to say it was her Auntie Peg on the way home. Shoppers Drug Mart, where I used to get all my prescriptions filled until I discovered Costco. There used to be, I think it was right here. This used to actually be an internet cafe. And before I could afford my own little computer and all of that, I used to come here and sit in this cool little dark cafe that had 12 or 14 computers and do all my stuff, plan my first few volunteer trips to New Orleans or print stuff off from there, I guess, because by that time I had my own computer, I think. Samurai, oh my goodness. We used to go here for lunch all the time. So Samurai is awesome. They have huge sushi rolls, decent prices. They do a happy hour right next to this Takis Taverna. I've only been here once. I didn't like Takis as much. I am really a Steffo's fan. So this block here has a lot of the businesses I used to go to. Oh, it's changed. This used to be, oh no, this makes me sad. So this used to be City Square Pizza. And they used to do that. What was it? Was it called Detroit style? And they had a super, like, thick crust, like this deep, but it was like fluffy. And it was the only pizza that I could eat the whole crust and not spike my blood sugar. I don't know. Go figure. And now it's gone. I used to come down. If I was coming down to this area, I would pick up a slice or two, either to take home or eat or whatever. This is the famous Steffo's. This place, when I first moved downtown, would have lineups down the block. And they have the best Greek food in Vancouver. Should always just walk right in front of somebody. That's a good plan. People drive me crazy sometimes. So we go. There's the menu. I would always get the roast lamb. It's my favorite. And they, of course, added in all these patios after the pandemic, or during the pandemic, I should say. This area, I feel like, has the most different ethnic restaurants, probably in any block of Vancouver, and coffee shops and everything. So you've seen a few of my favorites. Right across the street here, the little house, that is Gurkha, a Himalayan restaurant. I talk about it all the time on my tours. I love that restaurant. It's family owned and run, and it's a sweet couple, and it's a really great place to go. Never been to this one. This is newer since I moved away. But I did the majority of my shopping, my business, my spending money in this neighborhood, right in this block and the next block. Davy Flowers, bought myself flowers there once or twice across the street. Well, looks like Moxie's is gone from the Sandman. All right, let's do a little pause for a second here. Ah, thank you. Oh, okay, Michaela. Have fun grocery shopping. I'm forgetting to check comments. So, KFC, been there a few times. That used to be something else. I don't remember what. Great clips. I've gotten my hair cut here a few times. Trees, coffee used to be a Starbucks. Spent some time here. Cobb's bread. I'm going to go to the one on Robson Street later because on your birthday, you get a free cinnamon bun, but it requires um, opening up the website and doing all this stuff. So we're not going to do it right now. That used to be an Indian restaurant that I went to once or twice. King's Market on the left. Another pizza by the slice place. Donair dude. Oh, how many times I've been here. I love the lamb donairs. Oh, so good. Um, sorry, I'm going to switch hands here again because now my hand's getting tired. This used to be the Capitol. It's been closed since the pandemic. It was such a cool spot. It was one of those like everything is on the menu is like $5 and cash only kind of stuff. Cleaners, I've used them for my uniform a few times. Disco Cheetah across the street. I've heard it's amazing. I've not been in there yet since it opened, somewhere in the last few years, but I've heard it's really good. Sassy Nails Spawn Hair. This place is crazy. I've gone in there a few times to get like eyebrows waxed and stuff, but like it's just kind of bizarre in there. I can't really explain why, it just is. There used to be a little restaurant that was like a little Greek restaurant um, in here that I used to go to a lot. And you could get like a chunk of roast lamb, Greek potatoes, and rice for like, it was like $8 on Wednesdays or something when I first moved down here. So that was kind of cool. They've turned this into a whole fun little plaza area. I like all these planters with our, are those daffodils? Those are daffodils, right? Yeah. Chemically addicted hair. That used to be something else. I have gone there a few times. This is the saddest thing. This used to be Hamburger Mary's, and it was around for so long, and it was a diner, and I loved it. But they just couldn't survive. And they redid it, and then they changed, I don't know, changed hands or whatever. And it's been so many different things. Glenn's Coffee, when we had the Vancouver riots, I was sitting right there when all hell broke loose. Thank heavens I was only 2 blocks from home. Another one of our, look at that, Dizzy Gillespie over there. Right in this area here. You can blow it up a little bit. There is a big musical mural right there. I wish I could blow it up, but from this program I just can't. I'm so sad I learned that the last August was the last year of the Vancouver Mural Festival. They've like killed it. And I always wanted to volunteer at it, but just summer is not a good time for me to volunteer because I'm so busy in tourism. This used to be my favorite bakery. They had these giant, it used to be called Maple Leaf Bakery, and they had the biggest apple fritters I've ever seen anywhere in my life. There's a fun little variety store. Bought many a thing in there for different events. So their apple fritters were like literally not the size of your palm, the size of your whole freaking hand. Like, and they were like, I don't know, $3. Ho ho's yummy food. Got a lot of Chinese food there once upon a time. So you're getting a tour of my old neighborhood. Who knew that was how this was going to go today? Davy Pharmacy, I've heard they have fabulous customer service, really nice people. I'm more of a big brand girl. only because I want the cheapest deal, and that's not always the best thing. Davie Street Independent Grocer. I think it used to be a Super Value when I first moved down here. And that was where I first discovered if you go at the end of the day, um, they put a lot of stuff on sale. And you used to be able to get rotisserie chickens for half price. So good. Did a lot of my grocery shopping there simply for that. Score on JV, been around for years. The yellow awning with the West End Community Policing Center. Oh my goodness. That used to be Rogers Video, which was the Canadian version of Blockbuster Video. And I rented so many movies from there to the point where the guys knew me. I think Wednesdays or whatever were like maybe a 2-for-1 deal or something. And I would walk in and they'd be like, hey, we got in a movie we think you'll like. This building. I always thought it would have been fun to live here just because I love old buildings. Not necessarily the best looking from outside. It's called Holly Lodge. Somebody I worked with at Pennington's years ago crushed my soul and was like, ew, you don't want to live there. It's like, it's got cockroaches and stuff. And I'm like, dude, it is in the middle of a very dense area of downtown. Like, that doesn't even surprise me. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's gross. It just means that it's overpopulated in this area. Not that I want to live with cockroaches. That is not my ideal roommate. Same as my crazy cat lady roommate also wasn't my ideal roommate. But yeah, quite a few buildings like that. This area used to be all mansions in the very, very beginning of Vancouver. This was one of the first built up neighborhoods and built up by one of the railroad companies. And it used to be all big mansions. And then as Europeans started to migrate here, I guess would that be after World War II? And they started knocking down the old mansions and instead started building all these apartment buildings. Very cute little spots. Oh, another barber shop. This used to be a thrift store, I think. Maybe. Or this one. No, I think this one was always a restaurant, and the middle one was the thrift shop. As we continue walking down towards English Bay, for those of you just joining in, thanks for joining in for my little Celebrate Me, Happy Birthday to Me tour. We are going through my old neighborhood of the West End in downtown Vancouver. Now, not to be confused with West Vancouver, because that is on the North Shore. And to confuse you further, West Vancouver is actually technically farther north, apparently, than North Vancouver. So we have West Vancouver, we have the West End, which we're in the heart of right now. We're on Davie Street. It's where they do the big Pride celebration every year. Lots of really cool old churches in this area as well. And then there's also the west side of Vancouver, and that is across another bridge. And the west side includes like Kitts, Kerrisdale, kind of at one point which started out um, kind of being, what do you call it? Carousel. There were certain area codes that everybody wanted to have on their address from that neighborhood. So maybe a little more affluent. There's a lot of mid-century modern buildings, but also I don't know what year these ones are from, but there's some in my neighborhood now. I kind of like them. They're like 8 or 10 story high rises, and they have those. They all look exactly the same like this, the stucco and those kind of little balconies. I want to say, is it more of like is that like a 40s or 50s thing? Like a tall, it's not really mid-century though. I don't know. I got to learn more about my Vancouver architecture. It's a fine balance learning the New Orleans architecture and Vancouver. Now, this building here is quite similar, only smaller, to what my building was like that I lived in. We had a big grand lobby, but we had 3 elevator towers, I think it was, and 24 floors. Now, I kind of tend to think of these as being like the apartment buildings from like the 40s. There's a Malibu. It's funny because 1 or 2 streets over in this same area, there is also a bunch of buildings that all have that the awning that comes out with the aluminum, silver aluminum around. I don't know how to say it. I don't have my words today. But they're very like very LA, very kind of 40s style. Tons of buildings like that around here. It's a really fun place to run around, kind of walk around and explore. All right, I finished my coffee. I love it because I save all my gift cards and things, and rack up my points, and I'm very intentional about saving money and being able to afford to travel as much as I am lucky to. Um, and so um, I save things up for like a rainy day, or as I like to joke, especially these days, save it for a sunny day. And those are a rare occasion right now. Building across the street here is called the Mansion. And this is one of the last remaining mansions that were first built when the railroads came into Vancouver. It's kind of a busy street, but I'll pause a few times so you can get some of the detail. Um, yeah, this is like, it's got a nice big grounds. At one point, it was a venue. They did a lot of weddings here. There was an Italian restaurant. I want to say maybe it was connected to the Keg Group or something. Um, it's such a beautiful building. Then the restaurant went bankrupt or something. So it sat empty for a long time. And not to be a downer, but um, there was a period when some girls went missing from Vancouver, young ladies, and one of them was a gal, um, no particular anything, just randoms. And she went missing, and they found her body like 4 months later or 6 months later, or something inside this building. This was all abandoned and boarded up. Ooh. Um, so yeah, then it sat empty for a long, long time. And I believe they now call it the Mansion. It is a heritage building, I believe, so they can't do anything with it other than like use the buildings. Like they can't knock it down. And my understanding is that it has been turned into all separate little suites. So I wonder how many apartments there actually are inside. And then at one point, I missed, they were talking about doing it, and they weren't going to do it, and they were going to do it, and they weren't going to do it. And I lost track because although I feel like the property would be it would be high rent, I would have liked to have at least known and been able to see. Because, like, I've always thought it would be really cool to live in a little self contained suite in a building like that. Like, just, especially one that had, like, the little, right here, there's a little part that goes out and around. Very cool. Ah, rezoning. I wonder what they're rezoning to. That building was built in the early 2000s in that kind of Italian. There's one particular contractor dude, I think, who did a bunch of these kind of buildings throughout downtown. And I'm feeling like it looks like this one is not in particularly great shape. Almost reminds me of, I think it was like in the 90s. They had all these leaky condo situations going on. And I feel like that might be one of them, although usually it was the flat roof stuff because Vancouver is not designed for flat roof kind of things. We have too much rain and it just sits and pools on the roof and then it all just collapses. There we go. Safeway, I've shot there a few times. McDonald's, might have been here once or twice. London Drugs, this was my go-to London Drugs for the longest time. Although I didn't come down here a ton. Or did I? Yeah, I guess a little bit. There's this whole mentality when you live in Vancouver in this area. There's like a top of the hill, which is where we are coming from, to the bottom of the hill. And if you lived at the bottom of the hill, you didn't go to the top very often. Like it had to be a really good reason. And if you lived at the top, just didn't really go to the bottom unless you were going to the beach, English Bay, whatever. And I had an acquaintance. I think I worked with her at one point at Pennington's. And she lived at the bottom of the hill. And we were trying to get together for lunch. And like, I didn't want to go to the bottom just to go for lunch. And she didn't want to come to the top. So we kind of had to meet. Well, we were going to try and meet halfway. And then, of course, I ended up giving in and going to the bottom. And we went for sushi at some weird little sushi restaurant. I was like, oh, we have better sushi restaurants at the top of the hill. I liked when they redid this building, rebuilt everything, they gave it kind of a little 60s, 70s vibe to it here. We are close to the very bottom and very close to English Bay, my friends. Thanks for hanging out with me today. And again, for those of you who join in later, don't forget to hit the hashtag replay so that I know where you were here. And I'd love it if you could drop me a little birthday message as well. Make a gal feel spectacular. Already had about 20 something messages on Facebook, some text messages, some phone calls. Lucifer's House of Heat. I feel like this is not the restaurant for me. I like spicy stuff, but I've learned that I like a very particular kind of spice. And it is more, I like things like New Orleans spices, although nothing too super crazy just because it gives me the hiccups. Awkward. And I often go to Fresh Market and get their rotisserie chicken because you can get Portuguese rotisserie, and the spices are so good. And then when I use the chicken, the carcass, to make broth after, it's like so amazing. This is another typical construction here in Vancouver where they had a heritage building, and the only way they were allowed to do anything was to keep the front of the building. And it is now part of JJ Bean. And then there's a brand new build above it. JJ Bean is a local Vancouver company, actually started, I believe, in North Vancouver. And instead of being like some brands that do this whole um, every single store looks the same as you don't know where you are based on what the decor looks like because it's all exactly the same. Um, whew, sorry, I've got a bit of a cramp in my neck today. JJ Bean actually designs the shop to fit into the neighborhood they're in. So that one has like all wooden booths and things like that for all the nature in the area. Little red umbrella restaurant on the corner here is very popular. It's it used to be a little produce place across the street where I went every now and then would pick up some fresh produce on the way home. Circle K used to be I believe it used to actually be a Tim Hortons. Yes, you can see they still have the Tim Hortons fixtures. Quick Nickel Clothing Company has been around for years, decades. However, it used to be further down the street, I think. Or maybe this is still the exact same spot. This is one of those blocks here where I get a little bit hazy on what's actually, like, like where things are. You're like, oh, yeah, no, it's like right down at the bottom of the corner. And then you're like, wait a minute, no, maybe it's a block hub. Like, I don't really know. Best Western Plus. I don't have much to say other than if you're down here and you need a washroom, the washrooms are in the lobby. And you can just walk right in. I may have done that once or twice. We have made it all the way to English Bay. Yay! That was unintentional. The park is kind of like the restaurant in the hotel. They used to do like a really big Motown Saturday nights, and oh, the drama. And they used to hang around with the bus drivers that did this route, the 5 and the 6. We would often, it was fun to come down and hang out with them on my way home for an extra loop and see all the drama going on here across the street. Bayside Lounge, been there a few times. Know a gal who used to work in there. Sometimes pop in and say hello. We are coming up to English Bay. And no, we're not going into Stanley Park today. Sorry. I should do it. I've never done a Stanley Park tour. Maybe that's a goal for this summer. I have to redo my bingo boards that I did at the beginning of the year because I have some stuff on it now that I cannot do just, because of what's going on in the world right now. So I have to redo or make up some new goals. Here we are, good old English Bay. Our flagpoles here. Of course, a cactus club off to the left there. Right over here. That's looking out towards way across the water is the UBC, University of British Columbia, the endowment lands. It's where everybody comes to the fireworks in the summer. And no, I can't tell you what it's called because it's changed title sponsors and names so many times I've lost track. We have now since closed off this street here. We have a bank of bicycles, spots right in front of us. And off yonder there, we have our Laughing Men. So I'm going to cross the street here with you. We'll go do a tour through the Laughing Men. These, I believe, appeared around the time of the Vancouver Olympics. And they, I think, were donated by somebody. So when the Canucks made the playoffs last year, um, somebody came down and put a bunch of Canucks jerseys on these guys. Literally, they're called laughing men because they are indeed laughing. And then when Taylor Swift came to town, one of her lyrics was right in this area here, and they put friendship bracelets, big giant friendship bracelets around the necks of the laughing men. I send all my tourists down here as well. Kind of cool. They're funny anyways. Ha, ha, ha. And then while I'm right here, I'm going to show you this fun building. A friend of mine used to live here for a long, long time. I don't know if she still does. But, whoops, wrong way. Sorry about that. Trying not to make you dizzy. There we go. Look at this building. Go in a little closer, maybe. Isn't this a fun building? Used to be green and I want to say pink, primarily pink with a little bit of green or something like that. And then they did some renos and I think they closed in no, there used to be balconies. Maybe those are sunrooms. I don't know. There used to be something different about it. And now they have that. I bet that was like a Vancouver Mural Festival painting. And they have a big rooftop area where my friend used to have, it was kind of a thing to get invited to her rooftop parties. She wasn't a close friend. She was more of a longtime acquaintance and never actually went to any of her parties. I think I was invited one year, but it just didn't work out. More of our laughing men. This little dude here is kind of hugging himself. Ooh, I'm wearing platform Converse today, and this is squishy ground. This guy's pretty funny. But I kind of feel like they need to have some laughing women too. That guy. Oh, we've got a couple of dragon boat racing team out in the way out in the water. It's probably almost impossible to see. They're like right around here. Looks like they got pretty shiny pants, eh? Ship's tanker is waiting to come in. And we'll do just a little walk down here. I don't want to walk through the park because it's been raining so much. It's probably very soggy. And I will probably end up rolling an ankle in these shoes. This has often been a seafood restaurant right here on the corner, but different owners over and over and over. Across the street there, right on the corner of this building, right in the bottom right here, used to be, if you've ever heard about the Cupcake store in Vancouver, the Cupcake Ladies, they did have a show, I think, on TLC about their business. The very, 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 very first cupcake store in Vancouver to ever just sell cupcakes, not a bakery, just a cupcake store. That was it right there. We've got a marble slab creamery. But where we're going to go next is right down here. And once we get down here, we are going to end our little tour. Those of you that have hung on with me the whole time, thank you so much for being here with me today. Today is my 55th birthday. So those of you who know me know that I have a bit of an obsession with the number 5. For one, my birthday is March 25th, so 5 times 5 is 25. My soccer number when I played soccer, which was the only team sport I've played, and I had so much fun playing soccer as a young gal. I played, I think, in like 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. We were the best team on the North Shore with the craziest coach. We even got temporarily banned from the league because our coach had a bit of a wacky attitude. His name was Rick. I loved him. He was crazy. And sometimes I would go and hang out at his house after soccer because I used to play with his daughter, Gina. She and I became good friends and would hang out after games sometimes on Saturdays. And my soccer coach gave me the nickname Grumpy. So my favorite Care Bear is Grumpy Bear. Now this here is the Sylvia Hotel. And this has been around for decades. I think since I believe it goes back to literally the early 1900s, 1910s. I'm a little sad. They usually have a coupon in the tourism book. Every year they've had one, and every year I've not made it down here. And then this year I was going to do a whole tour or like a picture montage. I was going to go around and be a tourist for a day in the city. And I was going to come here for lunch, I think. And was like, oh, I'm going to go check out the coupon in the book to see what it says. Lo and behold, there is no longer any information about them being part of the post-tourism challenge offers. So anyways, it's got a cute little area here. Now this started off, I believe, being built as an apartment complex, one of those first buildings here in Vancouver. And then it changed over to ending up being kind of like, I think it became like almost like army barracks or something, or like Navy officers housing. Let's see if I can go up a little bit here because we are very close. I can't get any further up than that, but that gives you kind of an idea. And there's a heritage plaque over here. Let's go see what it says. All right. Sylvia Hotel, prominently located at the edge of English Bay. The Sylvia Hotel has been a West End landmark since its opening as an apartment building in 1912. I was pretty good, pretty close. Following the Depression, it was converted into a hotel. The building's rich architectural details of brick and terracotta are partially visible behind the vines of ivy. On the eastern portion of the site, an award-winning apartment tower designed by Henriquez and Partners, which echoes the architectural vocabulary of the original building, was constructed in 1986. Oh, so they added on an apartment building in 1986. Interesting. So yeah, look at like the little lanterns outside the entranceway there. Just give you a little view of the area. From this side, looks like somebody's setting up to maybe make some hot dogs and things. Guess we are getting close to lunchtime on my journey of free things. So over here, if you happen to be coming to Vancouver, I know you can't see it, but if you blow up your screen, you can. Way over in this area here, way across the water is the Vancouver Museum. No, The Maritime Museum, sorry, St. Roch. Vancouver Museum is off to the left. It looks like a funnel upside down. Um, that is Vancouver Museum and Space Center with the upside down funnel. And those are all walkable. You can take one of our little ferries that goes around the inner harbor of False Creek there, way off to the left, behind the buildings, and explore all the museums. And also the little ferries go to Granville Island as well as Science World and the bottom of downtown. So there you go. I'm going to flip this around. Whoops, sorry. Oh. And again, thanks for joining in here with me today. I am going to sign off and go get a free burger for lunch as I continue my quest to see how many free things I can fit in for my birthday today. So, yes, 5 is my favorite number. And let's see, is this the one I want to do? Here we go. We are in English Bay, the west end of downtown Vancouver. This is where we ended up. We did a whole entire walk along Davie Street. So if you're just hopping on now because you discovered it, then go ahead, wait for it to end, head back to the beginning, and you'll see the whole Davie Street and hear a little bit about the history of me and how I grew up in the west end of Vancouver. Some of the buildings, some of the places I frequented, a few stories along the way. And so glad you could be here to help me celebrate today. See my new glasses. See them a little better. They're blue. They're like a dark turquoisey kind of clear blue. I love them. Still getting adjusted to them. I seem to be doing better today, though, because I've had a few wobbly moments between the glasses and everything else going on. So that being said, my friends, so I started off with my breakfast sandwich from Tim Hortons. I have a free coffee, which I might go get at Starbucks after this. Then I get a free burger with a $5 purchase at Red Robin. I am so excited for that. And I'm hoping, last year they didn't have any broccoli. They do broccoli as a endless side, which is much better for my blood sugars. Last year they didn't have it. I was forced to have fries. So we'll see what happens today. I can also go pick up a cinnamon bun from Cobb's Bread. I can go get a free lip balm from Kiehl's. I can get a New York fries and a Jugo juice, and I'm going to use those two for my break this evening at work. So I get to work at the Lego store tonight at 5 o'clock, so I'm going to make it a really fun shift. And I had a free popcorn last week at Landmark Cinemas for my birthday, and I used up my birthday rewards coupon from Torrid already. I actually got this shirt with it that I'm wearing today. Wore it to the Alexandra Kay concert last week. It's got cowboy boots on it. It's very, very light pink, which I know is beyond me usually. But it was cute. Cowboy boots, Alexandra Kay, pink, whatever. And then I have a birthday certificate as well to use for Pennington's. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, Sephora. I need to do Sephora today. I made a list of everything in my phone so I can kind of like check it off as I go. And then, I got to go pick up something free for my birthday from Sephora as well. So I'll be doing a bunch of those when I get to Richmond Center this evening. Go a little bit ahead of my shift. But other than that, I've had a fabulous start to my birthday. Thanks again for joining me. And follow along. I'm going to be doing some traveling next week. So I'm probably going to be dropping a lot of lives through my Facebook group, doing some stuff on TikTok, I'm sure. Lots of lives there, some lives on Facebook. And I'll try and do a few things that I can pop into YouTube for all of you. So again, I would also just make sure you're following me everywhere. So you can do Girl on a Bus Adventures at Facebook, Girl on a Bus Adventures on Instagram, Girl on a Bus Adventures on TikTok, and of course here through YouTube as well. And follow along on my Facebook for my personal page, Coach Chitty. And I do a lot of fun stuff there, a lot of travel tips, hacks, and budgeting things because that's how I afford to travel. I just really make sure that I'm getting the most for, bang for my buck, so to speak. So once again, thank you for joining me for Happy Birthday to Me. It's a pleasure to have you here. Hashtag replay if you catch me on the replay. And don't forget, I'd love it if you could drop me a little line somewhere and just say happy birthday. All right. Thanks. Have a fabulous rest of your day. And I'm going to go finish having a most magical day. All right. Go be fabulous. Thank you.